The second night of the 2020 draft, Monday Night Raw, is now completed, and I have updated information about what you didn't see on TV. Round 7, what you did not see on TV, and so I have the draft thing, and I am just going to list you. We're going to go over the draft picks, and then I'm going to go over the show. And what you only give a shit about, who actually moved. So Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, moved to Monday Night Raw. He was the number 1 pick. And then you had the Street Profits. They went to SmackDown. So they actually moved. So no unification of the titles. We'll get to that later. And then you had Braun Strowman going to Raw. Matt Riddle going to Raw. Kevin Owens moving to SmackDown. Jeff Hardy moving to Raw. Let's see, what else we got? Alexa Bliss moving to Raw with The Fiend. Elias returned tonight, as you see, and he has moved to Raw. Lacey Evans moved to Raw. Sheamus moved to Raw. Nikki Cross moved to Raw. Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode has moved to SmackDown. Apollo Crews moved to Raw. Titus stayed on the brand. Carmelo stayed. Peyton Royce stayed on Raw. Aleister Black got moved to SmackDown. He was round 6. Unbelievable. Now this is what you didn't see. So you had Tucker moving to Raw. So they split up Heavy Machinery. They split up. They only Lindsay Dorado and Grand Metalik are moving to Raw. So they split out Kalisto. Natalia moved to SmackDown. Who gives a shit? But it was funny. Nobody wanted to draft her. I found that hilarious. And the Riot Squad have moved to SmackDown. So keep stacking that women's division so we don't get Natalia, please, for fuck's sake. It's a 2-hour show, so that's good. So you usually have just one women's match, and hopefully Natalia won't be on. Now, there was no Eva Marie. Eva Marie did not show on the show. There were reports that Eva Marie was, she could have debuted as return as early as tonight, but that didn't happen, I guess, because this leaked out, so they were like, let's leave it for a surprise. But it looks like Eva Marie is going to be back in WWE. Don't be surprised if you see her. So that was essentially the draft. Couple good changes. Raw, it seems like Raw got a better deal out of this, but after this, they got to go back to the old formats when in like 2010, 2011, 2012, because this does not make sense. They're drafting people already on the fucking brand. I don't understand. So they got to go back to Raw versus SmackDown. Whoever wins, they get the draft pick, and people switch brands. That's it. Nobody else gives a fuck if Drew McIntyre, Roman Reigns just stay on the brand. Like, they're already on the brand. That does not make sense. A shakeup is a shakeup where people move brands. Nobody gives a shit. It's no longer 2016. So I think you still got a good chunk of people still, not selected. I think Andrade's still undrafted and ridiculous. That's a big surprise to me, but whatever. As of right now, but you have the show started off with Randy Orton. He didn't give a shit about the where he got drafted to. He stayed on Raw, obviously, and he's gonna fight Drew McIntyre Hell in a Cell. And so Drew McIntyre came out and was like, "Oh, well, I'm gonna beat you up." So they started going at it, and then they're like, "Oh, well, we have 3 hours, so I can beat you up." And so that'll come into play later. Then they did the draft picks throughout the night. You had Aleister Black versus Kevin Owens, and so Kevin Owens needed this win badly. No DQ match, he needed this win badly, and Kevin Owens did in fact win. So Awesome to see that. I like Aleister Black, but they buried Kevin Owens so much that he needed this W, man. He's a loser right now, but he got the W. So they did a segment where the Street Profits and the New Day, they exchanged titles because it makes sense, because one's going to Raw, one's going to SmackDown. So they just swapped the belts. They need to unify this tag division. Jesus Christ. You can tell WWE does not give a single fuck about tag team wrestling. You can tell. They split up Heavy Machinery. Look, I'm not really a big fan of Heavy Machinery, but Jesus Christ, you're in desperate need of tag teams and you're just splitting them up. My God. So they need to unify the division. Just please. And so you have that, and then you had Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler. They were upset, and so they had a match for the title tonight, and that was that. That set up that. Then you had oh my God, Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. They were talking. They were gonna be on Miz TV tonight. And so you got Miz and Morrison doing the Miz TV. Then there was Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. They were talking. And then, of course, nobody asked for this, but Lana and Natalya showed up. They show up, even though they're going to be in a fucking tag match. Not a tag match. Well, they ended up being a tag match. They were supposed to be in a battle royal. They were supposed to be in a battle royal. Later on in the night, to whoever won would challenge Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship next week. But they didn't give a shit. They for some reason they came out, and then essentially they brawled. And so after they went to commercial break, and then after commercial break, Miz is like, "Oh, I always have a plan B." And so Morrison was his next guest, but then before that, all you heard was Lars Sullivan's music. He came out and he beat up Miz and Morrison. So that was that. You guys dropped this SmackDown. So Vince McMahon said, "Fuck you guys. You're getting Lars Sullivan twice this week. I don't give a shit." I mean, this is so bad. But yeah. So that was that. They beat up Miz and Morrison. Seth Rollins walking backstage, back to the commercial. And then you had Seth Rollins saying goodbye, farewell match. His farewell speech. There's nobody like me, this and that. And then Jeff Hardy comes out. Then after, he does his whole thing. And then after Jeff Hardy, AJ Styles comes out. But Seth Rollins is leaving. And then it essentially turns into a fight. And then Jeff Hardy botches because he's like, you know what, guys, we're going to do a triple threat tag match. I was like, wait, what? Who? Which mystery partners? And so it ended up being Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles versus Aleister Black with, okay. Jeff Hardy versus Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles. This was obviously a pay-per-view caliber match. It was pretty good. Tonight's show was actually an improvement from the past couple weeks. You still had those boring moments and shit like that, but it was pretty entertaining. I mean, you had this match, and then you had, during the match, Jeff Hardy was going to pin AJ Styles. But Elias comes into the ring and hits Jeff Hardy in the back and allowed AJ Styles to win. And so you had Elias return. And so Elias returned. And so that was pretty entertaining. But he's a heel, but it did not make sense. Because so then Elias, they interview him. Charlie Caruso interviews him later on in the night, and people were like, "Oh, this is payback for what happened with the car accident." But Elias knows that the suspect was a redhead, so why is he mad at Jeff Hardy and not Sheamus? Sheamus is now drafted to Monday Night Raw. What the hell? But I don't know, whatever. So that's gonna be the next feud, but I don't know. It's good to see Elias back. But they gotta stop turning him heel and face. Just keep him one thing. And then back in the ring, you had Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose versus Natalia and Lana. So you you didn't just get Natalia and Lana once. You got them 3 fucking times tonight. 3 times. Not even Humberto Carrillo appeared on the fucking show. Thank God. But Jesus Christ. Um. So you essentially had you had Dana Brooke pin Lana, and so after the match, Lana and Natalia, they split up. Now this is gonna come into play later on, but they split up. Thank you. Now Lana and Natalia has no reason to be on TV anymore, so nobody gives a shit. So Dana Brooke and Mandy won. Then there was a segment, MVP backstage with the Hurt Business. It's interesting enough. They talked about last week with Mustafa Ali and Retribution, but they didn't appear on the TV. I found that weird and strange, especially after last week. But I don't know. So Hurt Business is backstage and they're talking amongst each other, and then you had Cedric Alexander butts in and he's like, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this and that. This will be our last hurrah. If I win, there's no more. This is done. There's no more matches and shit with us. If I lose, I will join the Hurt Business. Now, I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, I you know what? I do think that Ricochet, he needs something. He needs something to make him interesting, and I don't know. I think this would have done him wonders maybe, but we'll find out if he joins the Hurt Business later on. But thank God this shit's over now. The feud is over. The Hurt Business can move on to someone else, like the fucking Retribution, and thank God. You had Andrade versus Angel Garza. Andrade, who wasn't even fucking drafted tonight. I don't understand what the hell happened. I do think Angel Garza is better than Andrade, but I mean, I just don't understand. Even still, why is Andrade not drafted? So, Angel Garza versus Andrade. And then Zelina Vega was on commentary. And you had Garza taped up, his leg, his thigh, all taped up. And he pins Andrade. So, and then you had, after that, you had Zelina Vega come to the aid of Andrade. Because Andrade was hurting. Which is interesting and good because Andrade needs a fucking manager. He needs a mouthpiece. Angel Garza doesn't. He's great on the mic. So, this is good. I like where that's going. But then you had the Fiend's music. That's eerie music. It goes playing, and then the lights went off, and then you had Alexa Bliss, who's just now drafted to Raw. She did the creepy crawler thing, and she was in the ring, and so was the Fiend. So it looks like you're getting Andrade and Zelina Vega versus Bray Wyatt and Alexa Bliss. And I don't know what the fuck they're gonna change Andrade into, that guy with the suspenders and fedora. No, we don't need that shit again. He's better the way he is now. But interesting enough. So they beat up Zelina and Andrade. So that's looking like the next thing for the Fiend. I thought Kevin Owens was gonna stay on Raw, so they continued their feud, but no. So, looks like good news, I guess. Move away from that shit. Then you had the tag team title match, Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler versus New Day. I kind of wanted Bobby Roode and Dolph to win the SmackDown titles, the Raw title, just so they could bring it to SmackDown and we could get a unification of that motherfucker. Because this division needs to be merged because I don't know what the hell they're doing. Raw's tag division is depleted. But, and obviously, and they need to fucking move Bobby Roode away from Dolph Ziggler because the longer that they stay together, the more I lose interest with Bobby Roode, because Dolph Ziggler is so stale and it rubs off on Bobby Roode. We don't need that. So you had that, and then you had Ricochet versus Cedric Alexander. Throughout the match, I thought that Ricochet was gonna lose, but you had Cedric Alexander accidentally knocked out the referee, and the referee was out. So MVP brought in the steel chair. He was tossing it to Cedric, but Ricochet intercepted it, and the referee was waking up, and Ricochet pulled an Eddie Guerrero, and he threw the chair at Cedric Alexander, and so that caused the ref to call DQ, and so Ricochet he escaped with the W, and now he's moving on from that, and he's not joining the Hurt Business. So good. The good news out of this is that no more Ricochet versus the Hurt Business. That shit has finally finished. Thank God. So this was the second to last match. Now you got the women's battle royal. Now I thought that with the 4 women, the tag match, that it was going to clear up 4 spots, and you were going to have Charlotte and or even Marie, be in the match. Because why the hell are they going to have these women 3 fucking segments, Natalya in 3 segments, and you're just going to keep hurting your fucking stars? So, but no, they were all in the match. Asuka was at ringside for the match because she is going to be facing the person next Monday. And oh my God, bro, I really thought that Natalya was going to do it. So in the match, you had at one point Shayna Baszler. She eliminates Nia Jax on purpose. Nia Jax is pissed, and so she takes Lana, who was not eliminated. Keep that in mind. Lana was not eliminated, and she puts Lana through the table because WWE is still not over Miro joining AEW, and I still stand by this, even though what happens next. So you had in the final 4, I think it was the Riot Squad versus Lacey Evans and Natalya. Lacey and Natalya, they eliminate the Riot Squad. And then you have Lacey Evans and Natalya, the final 2, they're outside. And then Natalya eventually eliminates Lacey Evans. But her music does not go off. So I said, oh shit, who is that? I thought it was going to be Charlotte. I thought there was someone else. So I was like, someone's going to eliminate her. Her music's not going off. She didn't win. And what do you know? Lana, who was never eliminated, she kicks Natalya out of the ring. And so Lana will be facing Asuka for the Women's Championship next week. But obviously she's going to be jobbing to Asuka. So there's that. She's going to be losing hard. But I've never been more happy to see Lana win than this fucking moment, man. Thank you, Lana. Holy shit. So, Natalya, the loser that she is, she's going to SmackDown. Lana's staying on Raw. And you're getting that match next week. And then you had Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre attacking each other still in the arena. But that was that. That was your Monday Night Raw show. It was pretty decent tonight. There was improvements in major weeks, and but now they need to fresh feuds, and they need to keep it interesting. So yeah, that's it. And so if you enjoyed what you see, please leave a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends, family, turn those notification bells.